money for that particular purpose, and you're asking him to come back and drop that, doing it as a about Nigeria case, you know, we had a case in Lagos some times ago whereby somebody in his room was collecting blood from young people, teenagers, people that are not even supposed to be donating blood because they are not ripe enough for that particular for donation of blood. It has certain age at which you can donate blood.
So talking about issue of blood bank, we have had cases during child delivery that they will ask the woman, oh, go and look for people who will donate blood for you. If we have a blood bank, why do we now go through the stress?
Thank you very much. That is the reason why I said earlier that the problem we have in this country is that people do not actually value donating blood, when they are supposed to donate it. They only always wait until there is their emergency. A lot of people in this country have never donated before until probably their relative is in need of blood. In fact, sometimes when some people's relatives are in need of blood, they are even not ready to donate blood for the relative. They are ready to pay somebody else to donate blood for them. And that is the reason why we are having commercial donors still thriving in Nigeria. Because the people are always there patronizing them. If nobody is patronizing them, definitely there is no way they are going to be in the market. But because we are there from time to time, when we are asked from the hospital to go and even bring our relatives, we don't bring our relatives. We bring people that disguise as our relatives. And these people, their blood has been discovered not to be qualitative enough to be given.
But let me ask this question: are there alternatives to blood donation? Because we've seen some cases where they say, "Oh, if you drink this liquid, definitely to shoot up your blood, and you do not need to actually transfuse blood."
Well, in the developed countries, they are trying to work out alternatives. But you see, these alternatives, it doesn't actually replace blood. What it does is the essential work of the blood is to carry oxygen and deliver it from the lungs and deliver it to the tissues where they are needed. And so when there is a short low blood level in an individual, the capacity of the blood to carry the oxygen reduces. And of course, what they are trying to do is to ensure that, they get an alternative whereby the oxygen capacity carrying of the blood can be increased. But it doesn't replace the work that blood will do, because there are so many other things that blood will do in the system.
But what about the preservation? By the time all this blood are being collected itself, do we have the capacity in Nigeria to preserve blood for a very long time until when people need it, especially at the public institutions?
Thank you very much. That is one of the challenges again that makes people not able to have blood bank and have blood readily available at our blood banks. And that is the reason why the federal government, in their wisdom, have set up National Blood Transfusion Service so that they can maintain what we call cold chain. Cold chain is like right from the point of collecting the blood to the point of expiration. There is a temperature at which you are expected to store the blood. If that temperature is not maintained, then the blood will become bad and it will no longer be useful for the patient that needs it.
How many losses have we had? From your experience?
From my experience, we had several cases of losses in the time past. But you see, in our own center, we don't have such loss because of the fact that the federal government has made certain things available. We have blood banks, that is regulated within that temperature between 2 to 8 degrees centigrade. We also have, the problem in Nigeria, one of the major challenges is the electricity problem, the power problem. And because there is no constant power supply, you have to stay on generator from time to time to ensure that the cold chain is maintained. And this is, hitting so deep into the finance of the center. And that is the reason why a lot of, hospitals, a lot of centers could not maintain a blood bank.
Some of these centers are not self-sufficient.
You mean the National Blood Transfusion?
Yes, I'm talking about blood bank centers like yours. It's not self-sufficient. You actually depend on the federal pulse.
Of course, we depend on the federal pulse.
But is it not high time to begin to look at being self-sufficient?
Yes.
And what ways do you think you can achieve that?
Thank you very much. One of the ways in which we can achieve that, because that is some of the things that happen in developed countries, we have philanthropists who are ready and willing to release their money for this particular purpose. But in this country, people give their money to some other things. Aside from giving their money.
But is that awareness? Are you creating awareness so people can know, this is the right channel to actually do this?
Well, we are trying to do that, and that is the reason why from time to time, anytime we have opportunity like this, most especially in the media houses, we encourage you, the media houses, to always give us privileges like this, to come to the here to educate the masses on the importance of blood. Blood is life. Without blood in the body, there is no way somebody can be alive. And if that blood is that important, then that means that the blood must always be available, so that in cases of emergency, there can always be blood that will be given to whosoever needs it at any point in time. We've had cases where there is accident case. We've had cases of women, that want to deliver in the hospital, and after delivery, the woman has what we call, postpartum hemorrhage. The person begin to bleed profusely after delivery. And of course, there are cases like that whereby the person eventually die because of lack of availability of blood. If blood is readily available for such patients at that particular point in time, the patient will
I
not
think
need
one
to
of the
die.
fears that people don't want to donate is, how soon will I recover if I donate my blood?
Oh, fine. It doesn't take so long to recover. In fact, some people think that when they donate blood, they need to take hematinics, blood tonics for them to recover. No, it doesn't go that way. All you needed to do is eat normally. And of course, we have different cells in the body. We have what we call red blood cells, we have white blood cells, we have platelets. All of them have different times at which they are produced in the body.
Before we go, actually, at what point does a person knows that I'm okay to actually donate? What do you do? What percentage of blood do you need to have?
Oh, thank you very much.
To donate.
For a male, when you come to our center, the first test we do is to check your hemoglobin level. And when we check your hemoglobin level, when it is 12.5 and above, between 12.5 to 17, and that is like the PCV. When you talk about the PCV of 42 to about 55, then we can collect blood from such an individual. When it is a female, from 38% to about 42 to 43%, we can collect blood from such individual.
We must say thank you so much to Abimbola Idowu. Akimbola Idowu. I'm so sorry about that. He's a medical laboratory scientist, and we've been looking at emergency and blood bank shortfall. And we hope to bring you some other time. It's been a sensitization money, and we also feel that quite a number of people should jump at this kind of opportunity to save many lives who are in need of emergency and, of course, blood to stabilize them. We just have to join our Lagos studios now. It's a bye from Ibadan studios. My name is Bolabo, famous school.
Until tomorrow, I am Anu Akomolafe. Have a very productive day.
It's the midweek edition of your favorite program on television, where we bring you information as it relates to our national daily. It's AM Cafe. Thank you so very much for joining us today. I am not the only one in the studio. Folashade is also here with me, and together we'll be looking at the major headlines making the rounds on our national dailies. Shade, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Great. Day before yesterday, we had the first rain in Lagos, and personally, I was expecting.
It was not yesterday. It was
2 days ago.
On Monday, yes.
Monday, yes.
On Monday. But of course, all around the Nigerian polity, talks all over about Amotekun. And Nigerian Tribune this morning is saying, as federal government declares Amotekun illegal, Southern Middle Belt leaders reject verdict. Governors respond appropriately soon. Fayemi Malami's action illegal, says Akintoye. And you recall that when the story of Amotekun came out, about 6 Western governors coming together to form a security outfit, it was also reported that they got permission from the National Security Advisor. So it came as a shock to most people yesterday when Malami stated that Amotekun is illegal, looking at the fact that security is on the executive list of the Nigerian constitution. But I mean, this is a continuing story, and we hope that these issues are appropriately resolved. But let's move on now to other stories on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Odua Investments reappoints Raji as GMD for another 5 years. That's on page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune. Oyo earmarks 54 million naira for free healthcare. That's on page 4. Choir bans religious preachings in public schools. That's on page 36. Level of the masthead, gridlock, Papa landlords converting premises into truck parks. Wow, tax force, that's on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune and continued on page 4 of the same newspaper. I think that shows the creativity of Nigerian people. I mean, instead of having houses where most people will not even rent because of the high rates of traffic jam and everything, why don't you just turn this lots of units into parking space for trucks, who would definitely need them.
Definitely. You turn your house or your couple of spaces around your compound to a parking lot or probably a warehouse. Who knows? The most important thing is that you are generating revenue.
Exactly. All right. Why Supreme Court declared fourth place Uzodinma Imo Governor Ganduje Tambuwal no faith on Monday? That's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. ASU remains adamant on IPPIS demands state of emergency on education. That's on page 7. Now, mineral deposits, federal government in discussion with states minister. That's on page 7 of the Nigerian Tribune. So there's a quote here on the screen headline of the Nigerian Tribune. That's the story about Amoteko and the Nigerian government. It says here by SMBLF, we consider Malami's action as an abuse of office to suppress the rights of federating units to secure themselves. We ask the governors of the Southwest to ignore Malami and allow him to go to court to challenge their decision as he cannot constitute himself the court over elected governors. We are not under military rule. Now, some people would also argue that the North has their Hizbah, and this is a revolving story. And what the most important thing the Nigerians hope for is that we want an end to the insecurity rate in Nigeria. We want peace and we want prosperity. But let's head now to the countries for the top stories.
Right above the masthead, PDP fumes as Supreme Court sacks Ihedioha, declares Uzodinma winner. We are at a loss on Apex Court's judgment, says PDP. My stolen mandate has been recovered. That's coming from the Imo governor-elect. Presidency, minister differ on finance law implementation. Page 26 of the Punch newspaper. Shagari respected president's office, always stepped out to smoke. That's coming from Utomi. Vice chairman tackles Oshomole over vacant APC seats. Page 10. Southwest plans legal action as federal government declares Amotekun illegal. That's on page 2. Law will take its natural course against Operation AGF. Amotekun is a reality. No going back, says Ogun governor. Laws are not made in AGF's office, says Akeredolu. Back and forth. And the diversion, there's a picture story of the diversion on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway at the Baga-Isheri end of the highway. That's a picture story. Suspect behind Buhari's fake marriage video gets bail. Page 9. Police drop car theft case against Naira Marley siblings. Page 13. Man jailed 2 weeks for making calls in court. Page 14. Man jailed for 2 weeks for making calls in court. OOU denies deliberating on commissioners designate alleged dismissal. 3 killed, 12 injured in Lagos-Ogun crash. Pages 4 and 5. Buhari inaugurates Lagos-Ibadan Railway in May. That's coming from the Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi. The Amotekun is really making the rounds on our national dailies as far as security is concerned in the Southwest. But looking at it from the point of the Attorney General of the Federation, you begin to ask yourself, what happens to the Hizbah that was also created by some governors in the northern part of the country? Nobody fumed at it, nobody condemned it. So why is it that because the Southwest governors have decided to protect their own citizens, and probably other citizens alike from other states, you are now making a heel out of a very little more?
Now, some people will think that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander, but well, we just generally hope that peace and prosperity will reign in Nigeria. That's our foremost wish. Well, the front page of the Nation is also having a streaming headline on this story. It says, outrage as federal government declares Amotekun illegal. States lack power over security, says the AGF. Akeredolu, laws are not made by AGF. Now, there's a couple of quotes here on the front page of the Nation. The first one says, that is what the people of the region want. The governors must go ahead. The country belongs to all of us. Consider his action as an abuse of office to suppress the rights of federating units to secure themselves. And finally, we ask Malami to tell us what makes Amotekun illegal, as Hizbah, civilian JTF in Northeast legal. Well, that's a very, very big question for the AGF to answer, because everyone in the region wants personnel protection for the 6 states But beyond that, if you have an interview, if you talk one-on-one with victims of, the gunmen, the Fulani herdsmen, or whatever you call it, their personal recount of the stories is quite sad. I've known some people who have lost their fathers, two separate persons who have lost their fathers to the headsmen and what have you. But having a personal security outfit to some people is the way for the Nigerian people.
Yeah, after all, the governors also have their security votes. Exactly. So maybe that's what they're trying to channel into ensuring that the people are also safe. You can't be a governor over the grave.
All right, above the masthead of the Nation newspaper, how Nigerian pastor raped 6 girls in UK, 61-year-old convicted, Inige rules as to with measure of IBPRS UTAS. That's on page 39. Choir bans religious activities in schools, government to tackle decay. If you want to see the reactions of people to this story, just head on to page 40 of the Nation newspaper to get details of it. Now, tax reforms fetch 8.15 trillion naira cash. VAT hike will boost state finances. That's on the front page of the Nation and continued on page 8 of the same. Oyo State Commissioner of Police, Shehu Olukola, pardoned suspected armed robbers in Ibadan yesterday. That's the feature story on the front page of the Nation. And finally, Uzodinma replaces Ihedioa in Imo. Mixed reactions as Supreme Court sacks governor. I've recovered my mandates. That story is on pages 6 and 8 of the Nation newspaper. I think that states here that even if you're elected into power, if the other opponent goes to appeal that mandate, if the Supreme Court hasn't given you the final mandate as a governor, whatever position you vying for, I think at that point you still need to chill and wait till that time, because after many months in power, Uzodinma replaces Ihedioa in Imo State. But let's head now to the Vanguard newspaper to more stories.
All right, the same story is making the rounds on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Shockwaves as Supreme Court sacks Ihedioa in Imo State. Hike in electricity tariffs illegal. That's coming from the Nigerian reps. Bank customers close 4.5 million current accounts in 1 month. That's coming from NIBSS. And below the masthead, uproar as federal government declares Operation Amotekun illegal. Reactions of Southwest governors will be collective. That's coming from Osun governor. Southwest governors should ignore federal governments, coming from Afenifere. Governors didn't violate constitution, coming from YCE. Imo governorship verdict. Picture story of supporters of the newly declared governor of Imo State. Apapa gridlock, presidential tax team, port operators, stakeholders, trade blame over corruption. Gunmen killed 35, abduct 58 in Kaduna. We are investigating claim, says police. 50 years after, another cloud of war hanging over Nigeria. Southern Middle Belt leaders. We don't pray to ever see war in this country, I tell you. We don't pray for that. But let's move quickly to the Guardian newspaper. Above the masthead, crisis in APC, National Working Committee over choice of scribe. Crisis in APC, National Working Committee over choice of scribe. Outrage as Customs spends 1.6 billion naira to employ 3,200 personnel. You begin to ask yourself, where did that money went to? Many fear death, houses burned as tanker explodes in Benue State. Families of 58 victims in Kaduna lament abductors demand for 100 million naira ransom. The screaming headline, how hope Uzodinma flawed Ihedioa at Supreme Court. Judges order swearing in of APC candidate Tambuwa Ganduje, no fate on Monday. South Middle Belt leaders reject FG's declaration of Amotekun illegal. Reps order suspension of increase in electricity tariff. These are more you find on the Guardian newspaper. Quickly, let's move on to the business page of the Guardian newspaper.
All right, to begin with the story on the Guardian business page, NFC receives no objection letter from SEC on demutualization. Plans court ordered Wheaton to commence takeoff. Lists global economy, political instability, others as 2020 economic drivers. Farmers express concern over low quality oil palm in Nigeria. Task CBN on timely disbursement of loan. Market index plummets by 1.18% after 11 days of bits. Other stories here: World Bank leads 40 economies with reforms on women empowerment. Nigeria misses mention among top performers. So obviously, Nigeria needs to work harder in ensuring that women are more empowered. And we have several ministries of women empowerment, but I think they're doing a good job, but perhaps they need more funds.
Yeah. That's very true. More funds, more encouragement, and then more opportunities. I think that will bring them to the limelight.
All right, federal government hopeful on Adeokuta resuscitation by 2022 after spending $6 billion. Says CBN to buy gold bars to check smuggling, moves single point agency to ease operation. Federal government urges states to honor right-of-way agreements, claims High Court of Consumers. Outcomes says states not mutually exclusive from broadband development. But that's what we have for you on the Guardian business page, and we need to head now to Ibadan for the rest of the program on AM Cafe. My name is Folashade Obrinde.
And my name is Fire Samuel. Ensure you do your best to make Nigeria a better place. Have a good day ahead. Bye for now.
Impact Africa Television. Explore, entertain, elevate.